This is DX Central Live. This is DX Central Live. This is DX Central Live.
Welcome to DX Central Live, Season 5. We will be starting the show soon, so make yourself comfortable and be sure to join in on the conversation happening in the chat. Also, don't forget to submit your shout-outs so we can celebrate together. The shout-out submission link is in the video description for our live stream. If you aren't already a subscriber, be sure to hit the subscribe button. While you are at it, giving this video a like and leaving a comment are great ways to help out the channel. We thank you for your continued support and look forward to seeing you in just a short while. Now get ready for DX Central Live, Season 5. Welcome to DX Central Live, Season 5. We will be starting the show soon, so make yourself comfortable and be sure to join in on the conversation happening in the chat. Also, don't forget to submit your shout-outs so we can celebrate together. The shout-out submission link is in the video description for our live stream. If you aren't already a subscriber, be sure to hit the subscribe button. While you are at it, giving this video a like and leaving a comment are great ways to help out the channel. We thank you for your continued support and look forward to seeing you in just a short while. Now get ready for DX Central Live, Season 5. Welcome to DX Central Live, Season 5. We will be starting the show soon, so make yourself comfortable and be sure to join in on the conversation happening in the chat. Also, don't forget to submit your shout-outs so we can celebrate together. The shout-out submission link is in the video description for our live stream. If you aren't already a subscriber, be sure to hit the subscribe button. While you are at it, giving this video a like and leaving a comment are great ways to help out the channel. We thank you for your continued support and look forward to seeing you in just a short while. Now get ready for DX Central Live, Season 5. DX Central Live, Season 5. We will be starting the show soon, so make yourself comfortable and be sure to join in on the conversation happening in the chat. Also, don't forget to submit your shout-outs so we can celebrate together. The shout-out submission link is in the video description for our live stream. If you aren't already a subscriber, be sure to hit the subscribe button. While you are at it, giving this video a like and leaving a comment are great ways to help out the channel. We thank you for your continued support and look forward to seeing you in just a short while. Now
This
get ready.
is DX Central Live.
In the night, so dark and quiet, frequencies hum low like a riot. Tuning in with all my might, searching for a voice in flight. Cajun air, it holds the sound, radio waves from town to town. Static crackles, mix and turn, waiting for catch it all alone. Mystery calls the night, my friend. Searching till the very end. Moonlight dances on the dial, rumbling with that Delta style. Notes float softly in the wind. Still I wait for news to send. Signal fades, the name's unknown. Trying to catch it all alone. Mystery calls the night, my friend. Searching till the very end. Bayou whispers keep me still, craving for that lingering thrill. Misted voices lost in haze, echoes in this southern maze.
This is DX Central Live.
He's got his antenna way up in the air. Dreams of Latin music out there somewhere. Cards in his hand, maps on the wall. Late nights waiting, but he gets no call. All those radio waves, they play with his mind, searching for signals, but they're so hard to find. From Puerto Rico to faraway land, tune in the static, still no guitar in hand. He's there in the darkness, waiting for a sign, humming to the silence with a hopeful line. But the airwaves are quiet, nothing comes through. Just another night, feeling deja vu. All those radio waves, they tease and they taunt, with promises of rhythms, but give him just one. From Puerto Rico, he's searching afar, dreams of a broadcast beneath the bright star. And in his small room, by the glow of the moon, he waits for a melody, morning or noon. Signals may fail, but his hope never fades. Seeking the music, his spirit demands. Another dawn breaks, he's still at the dial. With every sunrise, he promises a smile. From Puerto Rico to faraway land, tune in the static, still no guitar in hand. He's there in the darkness, waiting for a sign, humming to the silence with a hopeful line. voices of rhythms with a hopeful line. But the airways are quiet, nothing comes through. Just another night, feeling deja vu. And in his small room by the glow of the moon, he waits for a melody morning anew. Signals may fail, but his hope never fades. Seeking the music his spirit demands. Another dawn breaks, he's still at the dial. With every sunrise he promises a smile. Someday the frequencies will carry his tune. Till then, he dances to the rhythmless blue.
This is DX Central Live.
I got my radio on, just trying to get on it. But my baby says no way, so I'm stuck in this chair. I dream of signals far from north to east to west, but I can't put up no antenna. She says it's for the best. Dreaming of DX, signals I can't hear. My baby won't let me, so I'm sitting here in tears. That static calls my name, whispering in my mind. Well, without that big old tower, the signals I can't find. I see the towers rise in a distant starry sky, but here I'm bound and tied, can't even say goodbye. Dreaming of DX, signals I can't hear. My baby won't let me, so I'm sitting here in tears. Dreaming of DX, signals I can't hear. My baby won't let me, so I'm sitting here in tears.
DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
For more than 90 years, the National Radio Club has been at the forefront of providing DXers with the latest in station news, DX-related technical information, and reception reports from DXers around the world. The NRC's AM radio log, now in its 45th edition, is the most expansive and detailed resource of station information for US and Canadian radio stations that is available in any format. The club's publication, the DX News, is available in both print and electronic format and provides the latest information on call letter and format changes, construction permits, and other information to help keep DXers informed of the latest updates they may hear on the air. For more information, visit their website at nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org. With a lifetime membership, the International Radio Club of America gives DXers incredible value by putting important station information right at your fingertips. The club's e-publication, the DX Monitor, includes DXer loggings, station information updates, international loggings, and more. Other club publications include the IRCA Mexican Log, a must-have resource for any DXer that chases stations from Mexico, the TIS HAR list, the IRCA Slogan List, sunset sunrise maps, and DXer technical guides. The joint IRCA-NRC email reflector and groups.io group is a hub for real-time DX conditions, station news, and DX-related conversation. For more information, visit ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org. From long wave to satellites, medium wave through HF, ham radio to scanners. If you can DX it, the Spectrum Monitor has you covered. Editor and publisher Ken Reitz has assembled a who's who of radio writers to share their knowledge and expertise from a wide range of DX-related topics. Each month, the Spectrum Monitor's columnists dive into their specialties to give readers tips, tricks, the latest news and station updates, and more. The Spectrum Monitor also provides a monthly assortment of feature articles that give in-depth insight into the past, present, and future of DXing. You can get a full year of the Spectrum Monitor for only $24. Individual issues from the current year are available for $3 each. You can also purchase previous years of the Spectrum Monitor in their entirety for as low as $12. For more information, visit thespectrummonitor.com. That's thespectrummonitor.com.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
You guys ready for this? I don't remember any DXer having a week like Sean Kutsko in Champaign, Illinois. He's a ham radio operator KX9X. The totals: 24 new logs this week, 2 new Canadian provinces, 1 new Mexican state, 2 new stations of Louisiana. That's a double dose of that gumbo, baby. And a new station out of Wisconsin. It's a pipeline like that. If that won't get you interested in DX, I don't know what will. This was the best AM DX opening. I can't even talk. I'm so excited. The best AM DX opening I've ever experienced. The HF Plus Discovery's Code Channel Canceller and the NCC2 Phaser are two great antennas in powerful combination for some great AM DX. I still have 3 more recordings from the 29th and March 1st he hasn't gotten to yet. That's the age-old dilemma. There's more recordings for you, man.
You're watching DX Central Live with Lloyd Van Horn, and that's a very wise thing to do.
It's a Friday night, Lloyd in the North Shore, setting frequencies right. AM and FM, the airwaves collide. DX Central Live, where the signals can't hide. Tuning in the static, chasing down the sounds. Every single signal is magic we have found. All radios hum, the chatters all agree. DX Central Live is the place to be. Folks in the chat, shout out your call. From east to west, we're breaking down the walls. It's the magic of the night, where frequencies fly. Join us now on DX Central Live.
From the Gulf South
to your corner of the world,
this is DX Central Live.
Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
From the North Shore of Lake Pontchartrain, we bring you DX Central Live here every Friday night at 2345 UTC. We bring you live DX conversations, shout-outs, challenges, and more. From Studio A here at North Shore Studios in beautiful Mandeville, Louisiana. Welcome. Happy Friday to all of you. Hopefully you've had yourself a very nice week. DX, or I've been doing a lot of getting ready for DX. So not a lot of time to actually sit behind the dial, so to speak, and listen for stuff, but a whole lot of work on the behind-the-scenes stuff getting ready. And we're going to talk a bit about that tonight. We're going to talk, as we have been doing, starting with last week, our first week of April, we kind of transition to talking predominantly about FMDX. We're going to be continuing that theme. We'll still do AMDX and some other stuff as well, but we're going to be focusing a lot on FMDX and getting you ready for the upcoming FMDX season here in the Northern Hemisphere. And tonight we're going to be talking about a couple of very, very special topics. There's the getting ready for FMDX part of your equipment, your gear, and looking at your gear and checking it, because you know you need to do that every once in a while and make sure that everything is still connected and got a nice, good, solid connection and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about some different pieces of gear that you may want to incorporate into your setup if you haven't done so yet. So we'll be looking at some recommendations on gear, things like splitters, LNAs, and the sort. We'll also be talking a bit about some other things you can do kind of in the shack as well to prepare for the upcoming FMDX season. We're going to do a live update of our PI codes in SDR console. We have a video for that here on the YouTube channel that goes over the entire process in detail, but we're going to do it live tonight because I haven't done that yet this season, and I want to go ahead and get that done so we can be ready for FMDX when it hits, because let me tell you, looking at the Tropo forecast down here in the Gulf South next week, Monday, Tuesday, we're looking like we might have some stuff. So I want to make sure I'm ready for that. And then May is just weeks away. So we want to make sure we are ready for that as well. We're also going to talk about RDS auto logging. We've talked about it a lot on this show, but I want to make sure that in case maybe you have not yet dove into RDS logging, that you know it's easier than ever to do so. So we'll talk about some of the different options and setups that you can do for that. We're also going to talk about RDS Spy. It's a forgotten, overlooked sometimes piece of a resource that FMDXers can use, and you know some DXers say, "Hey, I've already got RDS decoding in SDR console or in SDR Sharp or whatever. Why do I need RDS Spy?" Well, I can tell you from personal experience, there are times when RDS Spy gets that decode and my software, my SDR software, doesn't. And vice versa. So there are times when RDS Spy doesn't get it, right? Or there's times where one of them may get it first, right? So eventually it gets there in SDR console, but it's a little quicker on RDS Spy. So we're going to talk a bit about some of the setup stuff that you would want to do to be able to send your audio through a virtual audio cable into RDS Spy so it can listen and decode those RDS codes as well. We're going to be talking a bit about a search that we've been doing here. What little DX we've done this week has been searching for Idaho. As we are in the midst of our U.S. state challenge, trying to hear as many states in the United States as you possibly can. That's our challenge that continues on through next week. One of the ones that we're looking for here is finishing up our west of the Mississippi River stuff, and that's Oregon and Idaho. And KBOI 670 has been heard down in Mexico. It's been heard reportedly here in the panhandle of Florida, just to my east. So it's getting out. Right, people are hearing it, so we're wanting to get on the action. So we may do a little searching for it tonight. Might be a little early, especially early on here in the show, but we will do some looking around. We have all of our antennas pointed pretty much to the north, looking for Idaho, and that includes our shortwave Central Kiwi. So speaking of Kiwi, we got that back up and running this week. I'm telling you, we've been doing a lot of like hands-on gear stuff this week. We had to replace the BeagleBone green computer in our KiwiSDR because the Ethernet module in the old one went out and wouldn't connect to the internet, so we had to put a new one in. That was fairly easy to do, just a simple swap out, no big deal. The more amount of work was the actual like software piece of it and backing up our shortwave Central Kiwi, using that as a starting point, and then we had to reconfigure our DX Central Kiwi, so we actually have a new URL. Which we'll make sure we share with you guys tonight. If you want to listen in on our KiwiSDR here, there is a new URL that you'll need to make sure you have so you can take advantage of those, or you can just go to our website, livedxing.com, and they're already linked there for you. So, a lot to get to. Plus, we got your shout-outs. I know you guys have been hearing some cool stuff, so we want to make sure we have a chance to celebrate those. So, a lot to get to tonight, and I do want to get started with some DX here early on. We're going to do a really quick pass-through on the FM band, see if there's anything there. Probably not. I think we're pretty much dead band between now and Sunday night into maybe early Monday morning, but then that's going to be when things really start ramping up. So, let's do a quick pass through the FM band, and then we'll swap over to AM and see what we have going on there. Even though, like I said, it's a little early, it's pre-sunset right now, still pretty bright in there in the living room, so probably not going to be a whole lot we can hear right just yet on the AM side of things, but we'll give it a shot. This DX session is brought to you by National Radio Club, nationalradioclub.org. That's the website for more information about membership in the National Radio Club. And make sure you check them out and take advantage of all the membership benefits that come with it. Deductions or discounts, rather, on some of their print publications. You get the DX News. You get the DXtra, the little e-only publication that's there for stuff that wouldn't fit into the print publication. All kinds of cool stuff. NationalRadioClub.org. We are here on our ELAD FDMS3, and for at least one more night, that is paired with a 9-element stereo probe, vintage Channel Master stereo probe 9 Yagi antenna sitting at about 12 feet. I say at least one more night because tomorrow is the day. Tomorrow is the day that I have circled on the calendar to put the 33-foot mast up, topped by our 4-element log periodic antenna. And that's going to be our main antenna that we use here on the ELAD and also on our online receiver that we have. So, for at least one more night, the Yagi stereo probe and the ELAD will join us here for a little bit of a look on the FM bands. Things look pretty barren. Lots of dark spaces in there. Not a lot of traces. Big gaps of no traces whatsoever. So we do have some more dead band conditions here this evening, it looks like. Especially like right here. Look at this. 102.5? Nothing on one. Really? Nothing on 102.5? I kind of find that hard to believe because we do have a station in Baton Rouge at 102.5. So let's just take a look really quick and see what that is. Because that is a when I was looking at the gain charts, the gain curves for my two antennas and comparing the Yagi versus the log periodic and which one I wanted to use for the ELAD, this is the best area of that Yagi. The 9-element Yagi is 102.5, 102.7. That's where the gain curve hits its max at about 12 dBi. So this is where it should be performing the best. Not really a whole lot there. Now we are pointing kind of northeast-ish. So that might be pointing away a bit from Baton Rouge, Red Stick. That might be part of why we're not hearing a whole lot of that. Looking here at the rest of the band, though, this is the entire FM band we can see on our ELAD FDMS3. Not a lot here. Let's take a look at some of our presets that we have here, our dedicated receivers that we have set up here in SDR console, which will be another topic we talk about at some point in here as we get ready for FM season. But let's just do a quick run through of all of our kind of like open frequencies. Some of these have HD signals on them. Some of them are just open or have some fringe stuff on it. But these are the ones that I would look for DX, starting from the bottom, working our way up. Starting with 88.5. Not much there. Just looking for any kind of tropo enhancement we might be getting right now. Any kind of Gulf tropo. You can tune along with us, by the way, if you go to fmdx.livedxing.com. You can use our online receiver that we have, and it's connected to the exact same antenna that we have right now, the Stereo Probe 9, or another night. Tomorrow that will change, but hopefully, if everything goes well. But for now, you can still DX off of the 9-element Yagi. So let's go back to our scan through. Nothing there. 90.7, that's a HD signal off of, or 90.9, sorry, is an HD off of 90.7. We've got 92.1. We've got 92.5. 93.1 is a HD off of 93.3, 93.5, 94.5. This is where we would typically, if we had a little bit of tropo, would be hearing a station out of Lafayette, Louisiana called KSMB. Not a hint. Not even a small amount of KSMB is coming in. So this is dead band conditions. 95.1, nothing. Normally this would be Natchez, Mississippi. We had a little bit of tropo enhancement. There we've got 103.3. I'm sorry, 103.3. That's kind of weird. That should be 96.9 right now. There we go. 96.9 is the frequency I'll be looking for there. There we go. That's a HD. 97.3's HD. Let's see.
DX Central Live top of the hour alert.
It is top of the hour time frame here, and we're on the FM band just looking for anything. And I'm not really seeing a whole lot of anything. So 98.1, this is, or 98.3, sorry, this is an HD off of our 98.5. There's 98.7 HD. Just a whole lot of nothing. New Iberia's not even coming in. That's an interesting look at the band. There's another Lafayette. They were coming in earlier, it looks like. Not now. One of our bigger open frequencies, 100.1. 102.1. Yeah, we're just not seeing a whole lot right now on the bands. That should be Ocean Springs, Mississippi. They're not even coming in. Nothing there on 103.9. Wow, this is Gonzales, Louisiana, which is just to my west. Not even all the way to Baton Rouge, and they're not even coming in right now. Let's see, 106.9. We'll have to check and see who that might be. And then the 102.5. Yeah, so nothing happening right now on the FM band. Absolutely dead band conditions. So, with that in mind, let's go take a look at the AM band and see if we have better luck over there. Still a little early, but we'll take a look here. We're on the 330-degree side of this shortwave central Kiwi. Let's take a look. We were looking on 670. But let's bump that up a bit here. Go to 1580. And we're listening for IDs here. Let me center this up. Looking north, 330 degrees. See if we hear any IDs here. I'm just reading through the chat, seeing if I've missed any anything, any questions or any topics. Stephanie asked about recording in console if it's pretty straightforward. Yes. We'll talk about that. We'll show you some of that. Make sure we have a video on that. Both the recording and then the review of that recording. All right. Let me take a look here on my map. There's Tennessee, Shelbyville, the LIJ. Pretty common receive here on 1580. And we're choosing 1580 because you can see the top of the band is filled in a bit more right now than the lower half of the band, as it typically does as you approach sunset. It fills in from the top down. And also, these are really good. This 1580 and 1570 are really good for sunset. So we're going to take a look now at 1570. There's KLLA in Leesville, Louisiana. Rock of Ages station. Good times, great oldies, right? There's actually 2 oldie stations here in Louisiana on the same frequency, so always could be fun. 1560, what you got? There's KGOW. Belair, Texas, already coming in. Again, we're looking north, so 1550. We'd love it if Arizona would show up here one day. But right now we're probably hearing Baton Rouge to be PFC more than likely.
Caden Guzman had been sentenced
1540
to prison after admitting he strangled his girlfriend, but jail employees in Clayton County, Georgia, mistakenly released him because
KXEL perhaps.
Paperwork. Guzman
Might be a little
was
early for them, but
at a home near
sounds like
Orlando
probably them.
without incident. Kids and staff are okay after a gun was fired inside a Maryland school.
A loaded handgun was found in the backpack of a 9-year-old boy who brought the weapon to Billingsley Elementary School on Thursday in Charles County, which is just across the Potomac River from Virginia. Charles County Public Schools says the young student was searching for a paper in his bag when the gun went off, adding the student said he had no intention of harming anyone with the gun. A school resource officer was outside the classroom at the time and responded immediately. District spokesperson Diane Richardson.
We're trying to determine how this child got the gun. Where was it when it got in his possession?
The school sent all the kids home at noon. CJ Papa, Fox News.
The TSA is warning people who don't have a real ID. They could be denied access to flights if they try to get on a plane without one. In the past, the May 7th deadline, the TSA says...
I'll talk about that here in a bit, Sean.
Without passports or the enhanced ID.
That's a phenomenon I have noticed as well on Kaz's and Super Loops as well.
Say it's canceled next month.
That sometimes going a little, if you point directly at them, sometimes you're not going to hear them, but if you point a little off side, there they are. We'll talk about that.
Organizers say over fear of immigration raids as Immigration and Customs continues targeting, arresting, and deporting in Chicago and across the country. Organizers say this year there's nothing to celebrate, but that they hope in the near future that Cinco de Mayo celebrations will return.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. I'm Lisa Silicera. This is Fox News.
On the next Iowa Business Report,
yeah, there's KXEL.
Coolest thing made in Iowa. You'll hear about the annual contest and how you can be
besides corn,
and learn about a business based on telehealth and serving Iowa students. That's this week on the Iowa Business Report.
That's
Listen Saturday morning at 7 and Sunday morning at 10 on News Talk 1540 KXEL.
It's actually pretty loud for them. I'm going to be honest.
First alert forecast, mostly clear, will drop down to 36. Mostly sunny, breezy on Saturday, a high of 68. Partly cloudy Saturday night, 51. Wind south 5 to 10 overnight, south at 15 to 25 on Saturday. Mostly cloudy, breezy on Sunday. There's a slight chance of a shower.
And this antenna we're listening to them on right now is pointed about 22 degrees west of KXEL from here.
KXEL. It's 53 degrees.
Which kind of ties into what we want to talk about here in a bit, Sean.
Where Iowa comes to time.
All right. So there's a couple of catches there. Where there was a LIJ on 1580, 1570. We had KLLA. 1560. We had KGOW down in Texas. Even on the North Wire, they're still there. 1550. We had to be PFC in Baton Rouge, and then we just heard KXEL there on 1540. That's they come in pretty well usually, but not that well. Even when I point north, I don't usually hear them that well. So definitely clearing a path this evening on that clear channel. KXEL is. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, let's take that down. When we come back, we're going to talk a bit about FMDX. We're going to be talking about getting ready for the season. We're going to be talking about some of the gear stuff that we've been doing and recommend that you guys also look at as well. Some upgrades you can do, some easy upgrades you can do for your FMDX setup that can make a difference. and things along those lines. And then some of the other stuff we talked about, RDS auto logging, RDS spy, updating your RDS PI codes in console. By request, we'll talk about recording in console and more. So don't go anywhere, my friends. More DX Central Live is heading your way right after this.
DX Central, because we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
With a lifetime membership, the International Radio Club of America gives DXers incredible value by putting important station information right at your fingertips. The club's e-publication, the DX Monitor, includes DXer loggings, station information updates, international loggings, and more. Other club publications include the IRCA Mexican Log, a must-have resource for any DXer that chases stations from Mexico, the TIS-HAR list, the IRCA slogan list, sunset sunrise maps, and DXer technical guides. The joint IRCA-NRC email reflector and groups.io group is a hub for real-time DX conditions, station news, and DX-related conversation. For more information, visit ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org. From long wave to satellites, medium wave through HF, ham radio to scanners. If you can DX it, the Spectrum Monitor has you covered. Editor and publisher Ken Reitz has assembled a who's who of radio writers to share their knowledge and expertise from a wide range of DX-related topics. Each month, the Spectrum Monitor's columnists dive into their specialties to give readers tips, tricks, the latest news and station updates, and more. The Spectrum Monitor also provides a monthly assortment of feature articles that give in-depth insight into the past, present, and future of DXing. You can get a full year of the Spectrum Monitor for only $24. Individual issues from the current year are available for $3 each. You can also purchase previous years of the Spectrum Monitor in their entirety for as low as $12. For more information, visit thespectrummonitor.com. That's thespectrummonitor.com. For more than 90 years, the National Radio Club has been at the forefront of providing DXers with the latest in station news, DX-related technical information, and reception reports from DXers around the world. The NRC's AM radio log, now in its 45th edition, is the most expansive and detailed resource of station information for U.S. and Canadian radio stations that is available in any format. The club's publication, the DX News, is available in both print and electronic format and provides the latest information on call letter and format changes, construction permits, and other information to help keep DXers informed of the latest updates they may hear on the air. For more information, visit their website at nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
This man told me to tell you to watch DX Central Live with Lloyd Van Horn every Friday night. Can you help me out of this chair now?
Yo, two boxers in the park, arguing after dark, hog periodic in the hand, talking bands across the land. But the Yaki got the mic, pulling stations late at night, dialing up the distant sound, arguing tech all around. Log versus Yaki, which one's the key to hear the far-off frequency in the FMC?
from the DX Central North Shore Studios, this is DXC Live. Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
Any station is in sight. Jockey guy standing tall. Narrow beam to get them all. Point it right and you will see clarity in the cacophony. Lord versus jockey, which one's the key to hear the far off frequency in the FMC?
It's DX Central Live from the North Shore Studios here in Mandeville, Louisiana. Every Friday night, at least for a handful of weeks. And we'll be giving you guys DX conversations, live DX, and more. Your shout-outs. We got one more challenge after this one's over, which will be next week. This current U.S. State Challenge will end. We have one more coming for this. Ooh, that was two. One more coming for this season. And then once that challenge is over, that'll be it for this season of weekly challenges or bi-weekly challenges. And we'll transition into our summer mode, which will be giving you guys details about what that's going to look like this year. But we have one more challenge coming up after this one, and it's going to be a lighthearted one, kind of a fun one from an AM standpoint. Maybe FM too. But yeah, we're going to do a little lighthearted challenge, something fun, something whimsical, just, not as like, well, I've got to get all the states. We got to get all the stations. No, it's a little different. So looking forward to talking about that with you guys next week when we do our next show. All right, so our main topic for this week and the next couple weeks is going to be just getting us ready for the FMDX season. So we will be doing more AMDX stuff later on this show, but I wanted to talk a bit about FMDX and getting us ready for the season. There's a handful of things that you can do right now that will greatly increase your success you're going to have in the summer if conditions are favorable. So some things you can do, some upgrades you can make. Let's talk about that first. I recommend, now this is going to be part of your overall maintenance strategy you're going to be doing. So looking at your entire setup from where your radio is to your antenna, everything in between, you're going to want to check it. Make sure your connections are good and tight and sealed up. If they're outdoors, that they're sealed up. Make sure that the feed lines don't have any nicks or cuts in them. Making sure that any equipment that you have in line, like if you do have an LNA, which we'll be talking about here in a bit, that is working and so forth. So just making sure that you have everything kind of in a good place. Then we can start looking at, okay, if I'm going to make some upgrades and swap some stuff out, what are some things that you would want to do? So one of the easiest things that you can do is just your feed line. That's a super easy upgrade that you can do. So if you've been running like just regular RG6, you can upgrade to like RG6 Quad Shield, a little quieter, a little less loss. You can upgrade even further to RG11. That's what we're using here at the DX Central. We're upgrading everything on the VHF spectrum to RG11 for FM. And it's you get this gel flooded coax. So if you do get like a nick or something like that on there, it floods it back in, seals it back up with the gel that's inside. And it's a super low loss. It's pretty stiff, so it's kind of hard to work with sometimes. But it's super low loss coax, RG11. I get mine from Amazon from a company called Fat Satellite, PHAT, like Pretty Hot and Tempting, Fat Satellite. And they sell whatever length of RG11 you need. And they have them with the regular F connectors, and they have some that have like the knurled grip that you can put on there, and like a little hood, like a little plastic rubber hood that goes over and kind of protects the connection there. So there's a couple different options you can use, but a low loss, especially if you have longer runs, I'm talking anything 75 feet, 100 feet or more, low loss, quiet feed line is going to can dramatically improve your setup depending on what you're currently using today. If you're running like 100 feet of RG6, you may want to look at an upgrade to one of the lower loss feed lines. Then looking at some of your components, and that does include if you have different areas, by the way, like, from your antenna to a piece of gear, and then from that to your window, and then from your window to a piece of gear, and then from that to your radio, things like that. All those things, looking at how you can upgrade those. Inside the house, because I'm doing short runs, I use RG6 Quad Shield, but anything outside is RG11, flooded RG11. Speaking of feed lines, while I'm thinking about that as well, make sure that you're consistent in your ohms, okay? You want to keep your ohms consistent.
One of the things that I caught myself in the past was I would have 75 ohms from my antenna using an F connector, right? 75 ohms coming out of the antenna going back into my window panel. And then the window panel, I would have a little short just piece of coax that I'd found in a box somewhere. I'd have that running to my radio. Well, guess what? The one that I'd used was 50 ohms. Now I've got an impedance mismatch. It's going to reduce your overall signal. It's not dramatic. It's not like, gone. But sometimes, in some DX situations, every little bit helps. Especially if you kind of stack those up and you improve your feed line. You go consistently 75 ohms throughout the entire setup. Things like that really can start to add up and make a big difference in the conditions that you're experiencing on the FM band. Some other things that you can do to upgrade. I'm running a lot of splitters. Every antenna I have, I'm splitting into multiple uses. So, for instance, I've got a 21-foot dipole that's serving through a splitter, and it's going to a AirSpot HF Plus Discovery and an autologger. I've got a 62-foot omnidirectional. That's going to an autologger, and it's also going to my RSP Duo. Got my Stereo Probe 9 antenna. That's going to my ELAT FDMS3 and my online receiver. So all of my antennas pretty much have splitters on them. So you don't want to skimp on the split. You want a high-quality splitter that's going to give you the best signal transfer with the least amount of loss possible. I highly recommend Channel Master. You can't really see it very well here, but these Channel Master splitters, you can get them on Amazon. They're not super expensive. I think they're like $20 maybe. They're not crazy expensive. This is a 1 to 2, so I'm splitting one signal in out to 2 receivers down at the bottom. You're looking at about a 3 dB loss for the 2 connections you have on the bottom down here. So each of those is going to experience about a 3 dB loss from the signal that's inbound, but we can make that up with another piece of gear over here. But if you're going to split your antenna out to multiple receivers, I highly recommend that you're doing so with high quality splitters like this Channel Master. It's a really good one. Speaking of Channel Master, if you are using an antenna that requires a balun from like a 300 or 500 ohm connection where you have like the screw terminals on the antenna, and then you have that going down to your feed line, your 75 ohm feed line, there's a balun in there. Going to match everything up. Don't skimp on the balun. I used to. Back in the day, I skimped on the balun. And I took mine down one year for maintenance, and the balun just crumbled in my hand. It was poor, cheap, poorly made, bad quality. The Channel Master balun. It's a solid, high quality balun that you can use to match up your antenna. Like I have one on my Stereo Probe 9. I've got one on my Winegard HD 6010. I've got one on my dipole. I've got, I think on my Stellar Labs, I think I also have one as well. I'm not going to have one on the Lock Periodic because they actually sent a balun themselves from Innov Antennas, but yeah, you'll definitely want to make sure you have a proper balun in there to ensure the highest quality signal transfer and matching of that impedance from the antenna itself back to your radio. Because if you don't, you're going to have signal loss, and depending on how whack it is, that can be quite a bit. Especially depending on the kind of antenna you have, it can vary a bit. So you want to make sure you have the best match from the antenna to your feed line. Get a high quality balun. The Channel Masters are fantastic. I'm not getting paid by Channel Master, by the way. I'm just telling you what works really well. So Channel Master splitters, Channel Master baluns, I'm a big fan. If you do have a really long feed line, especially if you, let's say, you're like, you know what, I really can't replace my feed line. It's a lot. It's a big project. Can't really replace it right now. So the RG11 is not expensive, and the RG6 Quad Shield's even cheaper than the RG11. But let's say you've got a long run of coax feed line, or let's say you've got a splitter like I do here, right? And you're getting that 3 dB loss, and you want to make up for feed line losses. You want to make up for your splitter losses, things like that. That's where a low noise amplifier can come into play. Now, there are a couple different ones out there. This is one area where I would say, like the Channel Masters and RCAs and things like that, don't go there. Don't go to those, because those are more, I would call them consumer grade. You want to get a nice high quality LNA that's made for DX type of use. And this one here is made by KITZ, K-I-T-Z. It's the KT501 low noise amplifier, LNA, and that L and N is the key to this thing. You get a cheap amplifier, they're not low noise, and they're going to introduce noise into your signal path. And they're going to amplify all the noise that's there and probably introduce some more into your signal path, and that's going to weaken your signals. You don't want that. You want to lower your noise floor, set a nice stable noise floor, and these LNAs allow you to do that. This is a spare that I have. I'm going to show you what's all in here. There's different models, but this KT501 that I use is really, really good because it actually puts your amplifier outside. And you want to do that as close as possible out there to your antenna. So that's what this is. This is the outdoor unit. And you have a pipe, a hose clamp here, and you put that here, and then you put this up against a mast, like your antenna mast, or I've got one up against a tree branch, things like that. So you just clamp that sucker down. Got two connections on the inside, one going here, this goes to the antenna, this goes over here to your receiver, and then you've got an adjustable knob here that you can use to turn and adjust the amount of gain. How much you need, you don't have to throw it wide open, okay? How much you need is going to vary depending on how much loss you have and things like that. So you only want to put in as much as you need to get your signals to an acceptable level. That's going to vary for everybody, so I'm not, trying to level set that, but you'll definitely want to kind of play with that and only give yourself what you need without overdriving your gear, without introducing too much noise or making stuff too difficult to work with, because if it's too high, that can make your adjacent channel splatter really, really challenging to work with. And then that reduces your ability to DX on those kind of adjacent channels in the middle, right? It also comes with this little box that goes on the inside of your shack. You have a plug, wall wart plug, and you plug that in, and then you've got this goes to your amp itself, the outdoor amp. And this side goes to your radio. It says TV because it also can be used for TV DX. So you take the side that says TV, and that goes to your radio, and there you go. That's it. And every single FM antenna that we have here, and our weather antenna, is running a KITS KT501 low noise amplifier right now, and they are fantastic. I thought I'd fried a couple, turns out I hadn't. So now I have two extras, which is what I was actually wanting to do. I wanted to have some extras here at the shack in case of lightning, in case of things going out, because they're outdoors, right? So you want to have, if you can swing it, the backup, and that's what I do. I have a backup now. So those are some upgrades that you can do. Obviously, your antenna. What kind of antenna are you using? If you're using something that's highly directional, that's great. Directional antennas are fantastic. You get that high front to back ratio, and it's going to be able to help you take in signals on the front end and attenuate the ones off the back end. So if I have a tropo opening, right, where I'm getting both Texas and Florida, if I want to hear Texas stations, I don't want the Florida stuff right now. I need an antenna that's going to give me some null on the back side, just like I would on AM, right? So those can be very helpful, but when you have a highly directional antenna, you are only hearing stuff predominantly from that direction that you're pointing. So like earlier, we did that band scan here. We were doing a little look around. My antenna's pointing northeast. So a lot of the stuff out in western, west of me, like that one station I said that was in Gonzales that I wasn't hearing, which wasn't even all the way to Baton Rouge. I didn't hear them. I bet you if I swing my Yagi, I'll hear them, right? Because right now I've got them in the null. So get your antenna that you have and address that and kind of think about that in the context of what you're trying to accomplish, right? What are you trying to do? Like, for instance, on my autologger, I want something as omnidirectional as possible. I don't want to have a directional antenna on my autologger. I want it to be able to pull in signals from everywhere because I never know what direction the opening is going to take it, right? I never know if there's an E opening, what direction is it going to be coming from. So I want it to be there to be able to capture anything in any direction. So for that purpose, I want an omnidirectional. For other DX, I might want something more directional. Sometimes maybe a dipole will do the trick. So just kind of address and kind of look at your own goals of what you want to accomplish and then say, well, I really need something that will let me do this. And then you can kind of go from there to decide which antenna is best for you. I have used cheap Stellar Labs Yagis, 4-element Yagis. It's like $40, right? And it worked great. And especially on eSkip, when it comes to eSkip, there's a little bit of a tolerance there. There's a little bit of a forgiveness on antenna because when the skip's in, the skip's in. I mean, I've done some amazing sporadic E off of a boombox with a telescopic whip, okay? It can be done. But tropo, meteor scatter, if you're wanting to get into those propagation modes, That's where you're really trying to squeeze out every decibel that you possibly can. You want to go as low noise as possible. You want to really look at your setup and so forth. So I do a lot of those DXing modes, and so that's where I'm really focused in on those. But if sporadic E is pretty much all you're doing, you can be a little more tolerant, a little more forgiving on your setup. An omnidirectional antenna may be what you want, right? So if you kind of look at your setup, what you will want to achieve, what your targets are, and kind of go from there. As far as your radio goes, I can't tell you enough how great an SDR is during an E-skip opening or even a Tropo opening. You'll record, in my case, I can do the entire band because of the ELAD, but if you can't do the entire band, even a portion, half the band, 10 megahertz wide, using like one of the RSPs, the SDR Play SDRs. Even sometimes just those little bitty swaths you might get on like an air spy or something like that can make a difference. And being able to go back in and review those and see what you caught. So maybe you have an air spy that you set up and you're using it on an open frequency. You just kind of leave it sitting there and you record overnight. You see what comes in, especially on like meteor scatter. That can be a great resource, right? Because you're just sitting on an open frequency and you just get anything that comes in. The files aren't too big because it's a very narrow bandwidth, so it can actually be really, really helpful. If you want to go super wide and record big swaths of the band, those are going to be bigger files. So now you're going to have to think about hard drive storage and things like that. Can my computer handle it? But then also you have to have the time to devote to be able to go back and review those recordings. So just all kinds of things to consider. Maybe an SDR is not what you're looking for. Maybe you want to go portable and be able to be mobile and move around a bit. A portable radio is a fantastic option. Sangean makes some great ones, HDR14, HDR16. These little portable TEF radios, man, I can't tell you how good these are. Fantastic FMDX machines. We got 4 TEF desktops. Well, we have 3 right now. I just ordered a 4th one. The desktop models, and this portable one works just as well. I mean, it is fantastic at FMDX. I'm not a huge fan of the AM side, but the FMDX is outstanding. So I highly recommend that you just take a assessment of what you're wanting to accomplish and kind of go from there. And we'll be here to help. Obviously, we have several more weeks of our live stream, so bring your questions to us. We'll be doing some video series here on the YouTube channel where we talk about this stuff as well. So, lots more to come on that. But this could be a great FMDX season if you do a little bit of preparation work right now. If you haven't done your band scan yet, get on it. Get that band scan done. And then this is also a great time to do the maintenance. You're looking at your setup and seeing, is everything in tip-top shape? I went in last night and I put anti-seize on my log periodic anywhere that I had like a bolt coming in or some kind of metal on metal connection. So now I've got the log periodic ready to roll. And tomorrow morning, bright and early, we telescope the mast out 33 feet. We put the antenna on top and then we raise it up, get our anchor points for our guys, and then we're cooking, right? So there you go. Hopefully this has been helpful for you. Hopefully you might have got a couple of things. This audio. What's wrong with the audio? Oh, it's distorted again? Hold up. All right, how about now? Is that better? Is that better? Sometimes the sound card will just have a mind of its own and it goes into a buffer overload mode. So I have to reset everything. Is that better? I hope it is. And I can't hear that in my ears. I can't hear when it does that, which is awesome. There we go. Okay. Well, hopefully you guys got most of all that. So let's now take a look at, so we're talking about some FMDX stuff. Let's talk about SDR console, because there was the question from Stephanie here about recording an SDR console. So I want to show you guys something. Oh, wow. I think we had a meteor burst right there. That looked like a meteor burst. Oh, I should have been recording on that one. Maybe I had some stuff that was
RDS decoded. Let me see. Nah. No, nothing came in on the RDS code. Okay. So there was a question about recording in SDR console and how easy it is. And I want to show you guys how easy it is. So there is a handful of tabs up here in SDR console that you can use to navigate through different settings and things like that. Where you want to be is on the record playback tab up here. This is everything that you'll be talking about from a recording standpoint, including your review, goes through that tab. If you're just doing a live DX session and you want to hit record and have it record everything that's happening live, all you have to do is hit the record button right here. And then once you hit record, you can set up a title if you want to make it something easy for you to remember later on. Tell it where you want it to store it, and then hit start, and it'll just start recording. And then it goes until you tell it to stop, and the stop button's right next to record, so it's super easy to find. Outside of that, if you want to schedule something, it's a little bit different. A few extra steps, but not too bad. On that same tab, we have over here in this area, we have a button that says schedule. And if I bring it over here, now I would just say new. And that brings up a window that looks like this. So then you would, same thing, you put in the title, what you wanted to do. So I would say something like morning tropo hunt or something along those lines. You want to tell it what center frequency you want to use. And that's going to be basically if you have, like, let's say you have 10 megahertz of bandwidth, right? That you're working with on one of the SDR Play SDRs or something like that. I would say right in the middle is where you want your centerpiece, your center frequency to be. So if I was going to record, like, let's say the bottom half of the band from 88.1 to 98.1, I'm going to put my center frequency on 93.1, right? So that's how you tell SDR console where to center everything up. And if you don't do it, you can end up recording a whole bunch of stuff you're not going to use, like below or above the band. So just be kind of cognizant of where you're trying to record and what you're trying to accomplish. And that can be dictated by, like, what open frequencies you have and things like that. Start time is right here, and this will tell it what time do you actually want to start the recording. And so let's just say, I'm going to say 23:55. So at 11:55 tonight, it's going to start recording. How long do you want the recording to be? In this case, let's just say it's an hour and a half. I make sure you turn off the reminders. I put none. I have found in the past, I don't know if they fixed this in subsequent versions, but if I put any reminders on there, like 5 minutes before, 10 minutes before, it would pop a notification up, and then it wouldn't start recording until I accepted the notification. So if I'm going to do this autonomous, I would just leave the reminder as none. And then you want to say, how often do you want to repeat it? Maybe you don't. Maybe you just want it for the morning, and that's fine. Or if you want to repeat this every day, then you come over here and you select what days you want to repeat it. Or if you want like a regular occurrence, things along those lines. And then you would put in here from like Friday through the end of the month or next month, and then now it's going to tell you all the sessions you're going to have. And there you go. That's it. You can also set your bandwidth over here. Telling it how much, how wide you want it to be and so forth. So it's a super easy interface. And then once you set up your recording, it'll ask if you want to add the definitions. You'll say yes, basically add the definition once you hit submit. And then you want to make sure that this button right here that says start is pressed. And that's it. Oh, I have a whole season where I don't have any technical issues, and then tonight they just keep going on. Look at that. So here, here is the schedule button that I was talking about right here. Okay, it's right up in here on the record playback tab. And here is the interface. If I click new, give it a title, morning tropo hunt. Here's where I put my center frequency. Here's where I put my bandwidth. Okay. Here's where I put my start time. Here's where I put my duration, how long I want it to last. Here's my reminder that I want to probably set it none. Okay. And then here's where you would tell if you want to repeat the occurrence, and then here's your calendar to say when you want to start versus when you want to finish. Here's all the, you would just select how many days you want it to include in there. So let's say I just want to do during the week, things like that. You can do that. So super easy interface. And then once you've set that up, and you've added the definition in, then you would just make sure this start button right here is clicked on, and then you're good to go. Over here is the record button for on the fly live DX recording. Whenever like a sporadic event pops up, hit record, and it just starts recording from there. So there you go. So that's the easy part. The hard part is the navigating and reviewing the recording. So as an example, and when I say hard, it's not hard. It just takes time, right? So I'm going to go over here real quick. And here's a recording that I made this morning, actually, 7:55 this morning. I want to show you something. Check this out. So I told you earlier, it's dead band conditions right now, right? The band is deader than dead. So once this pulls up, look at that. That's the difference. This, pause it, at the top half, that is a decent Tropo opening. Okay, that wasn't even like a strong one. By this time in the morning, most of the good stuff was gone. So this is like a decent Tropo opening. But even just a decent Tropo opening compared to dead band, you see how many more signals there are. Right? It's crazy. So you just open up the file that you want to do, and then to navigate through and review the file, there's multiple ways you can do it. There's no right or wrong way. There's just multiple options you can use. Usually, most folks are going to click the navigator. And a lot of folks is going to default to this here. This is called the grid. And for the longest time, this is all I used because that's all I knew existed. I didn't know there was anything else that I could use. So each box is a minute. So as you click on the box, you're skipping to a different minute. We're at 8:40. Now I'm at 19, and so forth. Each one of those skips to a different minute in the file. You can also choose this. This is the waterfall. This is what I've been kind of doing lately. And what this will do is it actually creates a waterfall that you can look at and use to see, okay, maybe that there was times, especially like during e-skip or like meteor scatter. This is really good for meteor scatter. I can see maybe there was a time during there where the frequency was not very populated. There wasn't anything coming in. There was signals coming in. So I don't have to worry about trying to research and listen during that time. I can just focus on the times when the signals were there. Now, in this case, Tropo, there's signals there the entire time. So it doesn't really help me out very much. But in like a sporadic E situation, when you have some fading and things like that, you want to know when the signals were there. Or during meteor scatter, you want to look for those pings. The waterfall is a fantastic option to use. And then you can also, if I'm just kind of going through the file, you can also use these back and forward buttons to go backwards and forwards. And then this seek button in the middle is where you tell it how much time to skip when you hit those buttons. So I have mine right now set at 5 seconds. So if I were to go forward 5 or back 5, you'll see here 5, 5, 5, 5. It's just moving up 5 seconds at a time. So it makes it a little easier for you to kind of navigate through. If like there's a song playing, you're like, I don't listen to this song. I don't really like this artist, blah, 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 blah. Skip through it until you hear the song end, and then you can get to hopefully an ID. That's it. Yes, Barry mentions Bryce has some fantastic tutorials on recording and playing back in SDR console. I absolutely recommend you go check those out. They're fantastic. He talks a bit about how to set your contrast, how to set your display up, how to do some of the different features in SDR console. He's where I learned about the waterfall option for the navigator. So I highly recommend, if you're looking to do some stuff for FMDX season in console, check out his videos. Bryce Foster does a fantastic job explaining all that. All right, so we're going to save the next two here. Auto logging, RDS Spy, and our PI code update for our next hour. We'll do those next hour. But I want to get back to some shout outs for you guys, because I think it's about that time that we do some shout outs.
Shout out loud, hear the call for every single big or small, from AM to FM to C to C. We celebrate the ones who snag the IT. Shout out loud, let it be known, you're never DXing all alone. Through the static we found our way. Shout outs making waves today.
Shout out time. Get your shout outs in. Easy to do. Just go to dxchallenges.com/shoutout. That's it. Or if you go to dxchallenges.com, there's a banner that says shout out. You can just click on that as well. And you don't have to be registered to submit a shout out. I recommend that you do register because then you can take advantage of all of our cool challenges that we have. But just to do a shout out, you don't have to be registered. So who do we have up first? Well, let's start with our friend Jerry Hart up in New York. Jerry had a couple new logs this week, including WHBY 1250 in Kimberly, Wisconsin. WQOF 1260 Washington, D.C. Relevant radio. And 1330 WHBL in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. So it's been a while, but I think it's time we cut the cheese. Outstanding, and we're also going to saw him a log for that DC capture as well. Don't think we forgot about that one, too. There you go, Jerry. Well done, my friend. A couple Wisconsin and a DC from New York. That's good stuff. Our friend Sean Cusco, KX9X, checking in from Illinois. After nearly 2 solid weeks of heavy rain, you guys got 2 solid weeks of heavy rain and lots of static in the Midwest and beyond. I was finally able to enjoy some DXing again this week, focusing on the states challenge. I've made it up to 30 states so far, with lots of recordings going back to April 5th to review. Awesome. Most logs for the challenge have been common stations, but I have managed to hear 9 new stations this week, including 2 that counted for the challenge. 970 KCFQ in Tulsa, Oklahoma, 500 miles. 990 Russell, Kansas, KRSL, 250 watts for 569 miles. One of my longest distance catches for a station of 250 watts or less. Other new logs this week included 950 KJRG, Newton, Kansas, at 507 miles, 885 miles to WIWA, 1270 Eatonville, Florida, WHCO 1230 Sparta, Illinois. That's Illinois number 83 for Sean at 156 miles. WSPD 1370 in Toledo, Ohio, 269 miles. WZOX 1660 Kalamazoo, 210 miles. And KZLS 1640 in Enid, Oklahoma, 583 miles. But the best catch of the week was KROF 960 in Abbeville, Lafayette, Louisiana. Deep in the bayou. Yes, it is. All kinds of Acadiana. 1 kilowatt non-directional, 729 miles with a 6 a.m. Sunday Cajun music program hosted by legendary Cajun musician and DJ Cammy Doucette. My friend, that's some down home Cajun right there. As I sit in with a Cajun band here in Illinois, that was a real treat. I wrote them for a confirmation. Hope I get one. We'll keep you all informed. So first thing we got to do is we got to get our friend Sean a dose of gumbo, because it's been a hot minute since we were dishing out gumbo. Cammy Doucette, the Cajun Gentleman. Cajun Gentleman, as he is known. Yeah, I've listened to his show on KRF before. We don't have as many Cajun shows as I wish we did. 1600 KLEB in Golden Meadow used to do more than they do now. But KROF is good for some Cajun. You'll hear some Cajun every once in a while on WWOZ on 90.7 here, but nowhere near as much as what you should have on the dial, considering this is Cajun country, right? For the other logs, we get you a nice log saw, my friend. And then our next shout out here goes, and he has a couple of clips we're going to play you guys here in just a bit as well, including a KROF clip that we'll play for you. Carl, 2 new logs this week from Tennessee, neither one for the challenge. 1490 WSWW, Charleston, West Virginia, and 1590 WHPY in Clayton, North Carolina, brings the totals to 1,012 stations on AM. 40 stations in 22 states so far for the state challenge, all relogs. I'm continuing to do my yearly FM band scan, which I hope to finish by the end of April. Yes, sir. I should be trying my new TEF 6686 desktop out soon. It'll be continuing the scan on that soon. Very nice. So we've got some new logs in here for our friend Carl. And he's got that new gear as well with the TEF radio. So we're going to give him the new gear unboxing. Yeah, new gear. Right, there it is. Yes. We'll be doing that too. I just ordered I mentioned earlier, another TEF radio. Our 4th. We're going to make another online receiver out of this one. So when I put the new antenna up tomorrow, the log periodic, that's going to go on our current online receiver. The 9-element stereo probe is going to go to the backyard. That's going to be tied to an online receiver as well as going to the RSP Duo. See, yeah, I told you, every antenna, we got a splitter on there. Every antenna's got to pull double duty. It ain't going to just be on one thing. Not going to have an antenna up there just used on one radio. It's got to pull its weight, double duty. So there you go. Congratulations, Carl, my friend. And can't wait to see what you get on your TEF radio. Let's take a I'm not gonna do a break just yet because we're about close to top of the hour time frame here. Let's take a look at the band. Band looks a lot better. Okay, so we can do some more DX. Where do you want me to park on what frequency? What frequency you guys want me to check out? You got a state you're chasing for the challenge? You got something you want me to try out down here in Louisiana or in the Gulf South? You want to look for something further out? Compare? You got maybe a target station or maybe a station that's close to your heart that you want me to try for? Let us know in the chat, and we'll tune up our KiwiSDR into your direction. And let me see. How does it look on our DX Central Kiwi? I'm going to change this over to our West Super Loop. Another thing this weekend we'll be doing is putting the mini whip back up. We got our replacement feed line for that, for the one that I ripped out of the ripped it all to shreds with our lawnmower. That was embarrassing. 670 it is. We're going to 670 and we're on the North Wire. And there's Cuba. Even on the North Wire, there's Cuba.
Muy buenos intercambios en este quinto. El araño recibe derecha del dominicano, izquierda también del dominicano, recibe izquierda ahora del cubano. Más acción en este quinto salto de la pelea. El dominicano pues también plantándose firme allí en el cuadrilátero para enfrentar aquí a Lázaro Álvarez.
Yeah, that's all the Cuba. There's a station in their week underneath. I doubt it's Idaho, because they're still in daylight up in Idaho right now, like all kinds of daylight. Stephanie wants 1380. Let's go check out 1380. Oh, by the way, this DX session is brought to you by International Radio Club of America, ircaonline.org. So now we've moved. We're no longer on 670. Now we're on 1380. And on 1380, who do we have? We have Baton Rouge. This is Red Stick. This is WPYR in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Well, it might not be, actually. Is this the one that changed the format to the Spanish? Or is this Oklahoma? Let me pull my logbook up. That might be Baton Rouge underneath them. Yeah, go get those TEF orders placed now. If you're on the fence about getting one, this is the time to do it. Do it now. Before those tariffs hit on those smaller orders. Jerry asking about Relo on 570. I'll check them out. Yep, that's Oklahoma. Radio Las Americas. That's Sperry, Oklahoma. KMUS. So there we have the ID. All right. Jerry, so we got 1380 Big Loud Oklahoma. We looked at 670 Big Loud Cuba. Let's check out 570. .570 should be KLIF. Especially here on the North Wire. The NAX may be in there too. Which would be really cool. There's Mexico Mike J. What's up, man? KCLF 1500. It's been a while. Let me see. It has been a hot minute. Yeah, probably 2021. 22 was the last time I heard him. I think there was some ham radio activity going on here. So who might this be, though? We've got some Southern gospel here. I think that would be new. All right, we're going to sit on this one.
DX Central Live, top of the hour alert.
All right, it's top of the hour time frame. Means we are listening for IDs. We're chasing the Southern Gospel Station here on 1500 right now. I'd love to find out who that is because I don't think I have anybody on this frequency that would fit that description, so that would be a new one. That's KPGM, Oklahoma, with that WWLS ID. Yeah, we had a nice little Texas opening. I hit recorded on my SDR console a little too late. But we had a lot of San Antonio, Laredo made it in. For those wanting to order a TEF radio while you can, there you go. That's where I get mine. Yeah, WWLS ID. That was KPGM in Oklahoma, in Wahuska, Oklahoma.
DX
2 new ones. I posted the link up in the chat. It's the AliExpress link. On a whim. Thank you, Jacob, for pointing me to 1500 because I got 2 new ones. That's half of my goal for April. We're going to review which ones those were here in a second. I'm putting them in the logbook. That's my first new one for the month. 250 watts. Universe. Let me, I'm gonna hit mute real quick. And we're gonna come back here. And I'm gonna play the audio here that we caught. So that was there was a multi-station ID, and I guess I caught it right after the ID for the station I got. One of them was WDPC in Dallas, Georgia. So that was the Southern Gospel station that we were hearing. That was WDPC. So that was the other one. And I want to pull up my station list here. I'm going to play that one again. Oh, come on. 1500. Here we go. I'm pulling up the station list from Kim Trump. Uno más. Yep. VQCR, Alabaster, Alabama. La Jefe. There you go. So 2 new ones sitting there just waiting for me on 1500. I wouldn't have gone there without you guys, without Jacob pointing me in that direction. That's how we got a new one. Sometimes it just happens like that. Sometimes you go through and you don't realize, oh man, all of these things are queued up. Sometimes you don't realize that there's DX waiting for you, and you go to DX and nothing happens, and then sometimes you randomly fall into it. And there was one of those times. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some RDS stuff, RDS Spy, PI codes, and SDR console. We're going to go ahead and do that process live with you guys. So don't go anywhere. More DX Central Live is heading your way right after this.
DX Central, because we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
From long wave to satellites, medium wave through HF, ham radio to scanners. If you can DX it, the Spectrum Monitor has you covered. Editor and publisher Ken Reitz has assembled a who's who of radio writers to share their knowledge and expertise from a wide range of DX-related topics. Each month, the Spectrum Monitor's columnists dive into their specialties to give readers tips, tricks, the latest news and station updates, and more. The Spectrum Monitor also provides a monthly assortment of feature articles that give in-depth insight into the past, present, and future of DXing. You can get a full year of the Spectrum Monitor for only $24. Individual issues from the current year are available for $3 each. You can also purchase previous years of the Spectrum Monitor in their entirety for as low as $12. For more information, visit thespectrummonitor.com. That's thespectrummonitor.com. For more than 90 years, the National Radio Club has been at the forefront of providing DXers with the latest in station news, DX-related technical information, and reception reports from DXers around the world. The NRC's AM radio log, now in its 45th edition, is the most expansive and detailed resource of station information for U.S. and Canadian radio stations that is available in any format. The club's publication, the DX News, is available in both print and electronic format and provides the latest information on call letter and format changes, construction permits, and other information to help keep DXers informed of the latest updates they may hear on the air. For more information, visit their website at nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org. With a lifetime membership, the International Radio Club of America gives DXers incredible value by putting important station information right at your fingertips. The club's e-publication, the DX Monitor, includes DXer loggings, station information updates, international loggings, and more. Other club publications include the IRCA Mexican Log, a must-have resource for any DXer that chases stations from Mexico, the TIS-HAR list, the IRCA slogan list, sunset sunrise maps, and DXer technical guides. The joint IRCA-NRC email reflector and groups.io group is a hub for real-time DX conditions, station news, and DX-related conversation. For more information, visit ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central. From the DX Central North Shore Studios, this is DXC Live. Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
It's DX Central Live from the North Shore Studios here in gorgeous Mandeville, Louisiana. Every Friday night, we bring you live DX conversation, and a whole lot more. Your shout-outs, which, by the way, we did read our shout-outs we'd received so far, but there's still time to get yours in if you have a shout out you'd like for us to read on the air and tell folks all the cool DX you've been hearing. Just go to DX Challenges. Excuse me, dxchallenges.com/shoutout. We can get you in here and read your shout-outs live on the air. Would love to do that. Alrighty, let's talk about some SDR console upgrades for FMDXs. We're kind of, again, focusing on FMDX season right now. It's that time of the year where we're getting amped up and ready for FMDX. So I would love to show you now the process for going in and updating your PI codes in SDR console. Why is this even a thing? Why is this important? Well, let me show you a live version. I'm going to go in here and turn on my SDR console real quick. And you'll see, oh, that band is dead. That band is like, it's frozen. If I go here to a frequency where I have a local station, because I'm definitely not going to be getting any DX, you'll see here I have an RDSD code. There's the PI code right here, 72F2. There's some of the other information. Oh, I love this song. Saw him in concert here not long ago. Fantastic concert. Anyway, you'll see in here it'll have the information on the station, the song they're playing, and so forth. So the big thing is the PI code, because that's what ties to the station, lets us know who it is. And if you're looking at FM List or WTFDA or any of the different online sources that have this information, you can match up PI code to station, and now you know who you hear. SDR console takes it one step further. You can actually do the process we're about to outline right now, and you can get this nice little check mark. And what that basically means is it's saying, hey, I just got this code 72F2 on 101.9, and I have found in my database that you have provided for me, DXer, I have found that PI code on this frequency. So you can feel pretty good about that code you just received. I'm going to give you a little check mark to say, here, feel good about it. Because sometimes false decodes happen, right? So sometimes false decodes are a thing. But if you've got that check mark, it's saying, well, I can at least tell you that that code is on this frequency based on the information that you have loaded into SDR console. That PI code exists on this frequency. So if nothing else, maybe it's a different station. Who knows? Maybe it's a false decode. It happens very rarely, but it could exist. But at least it's a code that exists on that frequency. So here's how we do it. There are a couple of steps we have to go to. Okay. The first one that we're going to do is we're going to go to fmscan.org. Okay, fmscan.org. If you are a FMDXer, plan to be, R1, have been, whatever, and you use SDR console, let's do this together, because this is going to be worth your time, I promise. If you don't have an account yet at fmscan.org, you want to make sure you have one created. So I have mine created here. I'm just going to go ahead and log in. And then that brings up this screen here. All right. So the first thing you're going to want to do, and unless they've changed anything, I haven't looked at this since last year, so I don't know if they've changed anything. We're going to go here to the tools area right here on this main screen when we first log in, where it says user list, etc. All right. And that brings us to FM scan tools. And the very first thing we want is this one, user list for Perseus, ELAD, Win Radio, station list, SDR console. This is the one that we want. Mexico Mike P says the only one that has the wrong PI codes is iHeartRadio. They're not wrong. They're not wrong. They share PI codes. They share it as part of, it's tied in somehow, and I don't really understand the full context of why or whatever, but it's their total traffic network is why they have to do this. They share PI codes. So if, like, let's say I'm on, here, I'll show you. I'll give you a great example of one. 98.5. Now, this is a station here in New Orleans called WYLD. Their PI code is 1529. Now, it shows here, up here, it says in console, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, WMIB. The reason for that is that that PI code is shared by both WMIB and WYLD. WMIB was the first station to get that code. And I know that if I go here to the FM PI code allocation service, the NRSC, and I type in my PI code that we just saw, the 1529, I'm going to get a list, and you'll see there are two stations that use it, WMIB and WYLD. And, well, they were both allocated the same day, but it looks like WMIB was first. It's at the bottom of the list here. So WMIB was first, and then WYLD was allocated that same day. But they share the same code. So it may say in SDR console, it may say WMIB here. Or if I go to, let's see, 93.3 is one that also has this. There's Superior, Wisconsin. The iHeart radio stations, you're going to see it's a code that starts with a 1. That is the code. That is the correct code for the station that you're on. But you'll see listed here whoever the first station was that the code was allocated for. And if you're on 93.3 and you're in Superior, Wisconsin, you're good. If you're here in New Orleans, where I am, that should be WQUE. And I see that down here. There's Q93, right? Dudley DeBoge. So it's the right code. It's just, it's a little nuance to it because they share those. So that's what's up with those. Anyway, I digress. So we go back to fmscan.org here. And what we're going to be looking for is there are 3 files we're going to download. Okay. The first one we're going to download here is FM plus Tropo. We're also going to do FM plus Meteor Scatter, and we're going to do Sporadic E. Those are the 3 files we have to download. We have to take these lists here, and we're going to then import that into our SDR console. You have to have an account here to do this because it's using your location. Okay, it's going to generate a list for you based on your location. So let's start with Tropo. And I'm going to put this in CSV format. So on my list, I click here on FM Tropo, and then I come down here and I tell what format I want it in. I want it in CSV format. And we're going to do a semicolon here as my separator, whichever one you want. It doesn't matter. So you just, actually, I think it may matter. We do tab. I think I'm getting a recollection here that it does matter. And I'm going to use tab. We'll find out in a minute. All right. So I have told it which file I want, which is FM plus Tropo. I've told it what format I want, which is CSV. I've told it what separator I want the CSV file to use, either a semicolon, comma, or tab. We're going to start with tab and see if that works. And then we come down here where it says download userlist1.csv. Just click it. And it's going to download this sucker. And now there is, mine's userlist1 version 8 because I've done this so many times before, but there it is. So now we're going to download our second file. This is FM plus Meteor Scatter, still in CSV format. Still going to use that tab. Hit your link again, and it'll go, and it's downloaded. So now I've got those two, and the final one here is Sporadic E. Again, CSV format. Again, tab, download. And this one's a little bit bigger. So it's going to take it a second. And we're done. So I got 10, 9, and 8 are my 3 files. Okay. So we downloaded those 3 files. You just want to know where you put them. Now we go into SDR console. I'm going to go to View, the View tab, and go to Frequency Database. Okay. That's going to pull up a screen that looks kind of like this. Now, if you've never done this before, you're not going to see anything in here. It's going to be blank, but I've done this before, so I've got stuff already loaded in. But I want to get rid of all this stuff because I want a fresh slate. You don't have to do this step. I just do because it makes more sense to me. So the first thing I'm going to do for me is I'm going to delete all. So now I've cleared it out. So now, if I was to tune to one of those frequencies, the check mark's going to go away. And actually, you see it here. On underneath 98.1, there's no more check mark. Okay. So now we're going to add in our FM list loads. So I'm going to click load. And I'm going to point this to my file that I just downloaded. So we're going to start with number 8, which was my first one that I did. I'm going to hit load. And just make sure everything looks good. And it's not loading it. Let's try this again. CSV, hit load. Nothing's there. This is not what I was looking for. So we're going to have to do a quick look of my CSV files that I just downloaded to make sure they're not blank. Nope, there's stuff there. All right. I'm going to try to download them again. I'm going to change my separator to semicolon. I think I left that. It was one of the two. I forget which one it is. Anyway, let's do this. These three files again. We're going to use semicolon. There's one. Meteor scatter. There's two. And sporadic E, which is the big one. That's three. All right, there we go. Rick, I just saw your comment about the TEF radio. You can try our online receiver out, man, and you'll get to hear what we get, and it's spectacular. Let's try this again. Let me start with number 11. Load. There we go. That's better. So semicolon is what you want to use. Bingo. Okay. It was the tab that was throwing it off. All right. So now I'm going to add to database. It's going to say, do you want to do this? And I'm like, yeah, go ahead and add that. Okay. So now it's added 6,814 records. So now I'm going to go back in. I'm going to do my next file, number 12. Hit load. Add to database. Yes, I do want to do that. Yes, thank you. 6,906 records added to my database. Now we're going to do our final file. Load. This one's much, much bigger. 20,000. Add to database. Yes, please. So take a second because it's so big. And we close it out. And now we have 34,559 records in our database. However, we're not done. There's a little overlap sometimes between Tropo, Meteor Scatter, and Sporadic E. So now I'm going to come down here to the bottom, and I'm going to click on this button that says Remove Duplicates. Once I've done that, now I'm down to 25,727. You'll notice over here that my 98.1 has a check mark again. So that is now back in place. And so we are now done. That's it. That's all you have to do to download these PI codes and get them loaded into SDR console. That's it. Go to fmscan.org. Once you have your account set up, go to fmscan.org. Download those three files. Make sure you use a CSV format and semicolon for your separator. Okay? Download the Tropo, Meteor Scatter, Sporadic E. Go back into console. We're on the View tab, Frequency Database, and then just load them up. If you have anything in there, I delete because I like a nice clean install every time, but you don't have to do it. It's up to you. But that's going to now, that has put in the latest updated information on PI codes that is available at FMList/FMScan because they're the same site. The latest PI code information is now loaded into my copy of SDR console. So that means I should have a better chance of, if I get a check mark next to a PI code, I feel really good about it, right? And you'll see if I go back over here again, we're going to just boop, boop, look for PI codes. There's my local 97.1. There's my local 97 or 96.5. So you'll see it's pulling them all in. As long as I'm able to get something here, which a lot of these are so weak right now, it's not really cooking. Oh, there's Lumberton, Mississippi coming in. So yeah, you'll see all those check marks are there. So that's what you're looking for. You're looking for that check mark, and that's the good stuff. Let's see. Hawkeye Rick says, as tabletops go, I like the XDR F1 HD a lot. Love it. Got one back here. TF's better. It's supposed to be lightning fast at PI decoding. Yes, it is. It is super fast and super good at it. Super sensitive. super duper sensitive. The TEF is the upgraded. It's the next chip in line after the XDR chip. So that it's better. It's an upgrade. The TEF radio is from the XDR. Let's see. Got a question. You say iHeart share codes. One station, for example, KTEX 100.3 in Mercedes, Texas, has a code of 12AB. Shows as KBAH, but the real KBAH is not from iHeart Radio. Do you know what's going on? Sure. Yeah, let's take a look at it. So we're gonna go. I'm gonna go back to my NRSC. And what's that code you said? It was 12AB. There you go. So there are two codes, two stations using 12AB. KBAH was the first one to get that code. It was registered in 2018. And KTEX it uses it as well. They were registered in 2020, which most of these that I've seen that are iHeart, most of them, if the station was around back then, were registered around August of 2020. That's when I see most of these on there. So that's what it is. That's why you're seeing it. So even if in this situation, maybe KBAH owned them at one time, iHeart owned KBAH at one time. They don't now. Maybe, I don't know. But when it was registered, they used that code originally, and they're still continuing to use it because it doesn't leave. They don't have to change ownership, and now you don't use that code anymore. You can that's your code. And so now these guys are using it as well. Maybe they were using it at the same time, and now somewhere in there along the line, KBAH. Let's see, 90.5. KBAH. I don't know anything about them. It's Plainview, Texas. The American Family Association. Oh, at AFR. I think they're aren't they tied to? Huh, interesting. So yeah, that's, basically what you're seeing there. That KBAH is showing up because they were the first station to receive that code. And now KTEX has that code as well. So that's why it shows up. Now, why a non-commercial and a commercial station would have that code? But it's the right code. That is the code that is assigned and allocated for KTEX and KBAH. Both have been allocated that code by NRSC. So that's why you're seeing what you're seeing. That is all. What time is it? 8:30. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to do some more DX. We're going to do some more AM. And we'll also talk about RDS Spy a little bit on the FM side. So I want to make sure we have a chance for you guys to see that in action as well, because it's pretty cool. So don't go anywhere, my friends. More DX Central Live is coming your way right after this.
DX Central, because we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
For more than 90 years, the National Radio Club has been at the forefront of providing DXers with the latest in station news, DX-related technical information, and reception reports from DXers around the world. The NRC's AM radio log, now in its 45th edition, is the most expansive and detailed resource of station information for U.S. and Canadian radio stations that is available in any format. The club's publication, the DX News, is available in both print and electronic format and provides the latest information on call letter and format changes, construction permits, and other information to help keep DXers informed of the latest updates they may hear on the air. For more information, visit their website at nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org. With a lifetime membership, the International Radio Club of America gives DXers incredible value by putting important station information right at your fingertips. The club's e-publication, the DX Monitor, includes DXer loggings, station information updates, international loggings, and more. Other club publications include the IRCA Mexican Log, a must-have resource for any DXer that chases stations from Mexico, the TIS-HAR list, the IRCA slogan list, sunset sunrise maps, and DXer technical guides. The joint IRCA-NRC email reflector and groups.io group is a hub for real-time DX conditions, station news, and DX-related conversation. For more information, visit ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org. From long wave to satellites, medium wave through HF, ham radio to scanners. If you can DX it, the Spectrum Monitor has you covered. Editor and publisher Ken Reitz has assembled a who's who of radio writers to share their knowledge and expertise from a wide range of DX-related topics. Each month, the Spectrum Monitor's columnists dive into their specialties to give readers tips, tricks, the latest news and station updates, and more. The Spectrum Monitor also provides a monthly assortment of feature articles that give in-depth insight into the past, present, and future of DXing. You can get a full year of the Spectrum Monitor for only $24. Individual issues from the current year are available for $3 each. You can also purchase previous years of the Spectrum Monitor in their entirety for as low as $12. For more information, visit thespectrummonitor.com. That's thespectrummonitor.com.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
Just a radio I need. Now screens on the walls, lost in endless ecstasy. Tuning waves with these frequencies so clear. No apps and feeds they tease, overwhelming me with fear. Lost in frequency. Too much tech I see. Dial back the clock, please. Simpler times for me.
From the DX Central North Shore Studios, this is DXC Live. Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
That's the theme song of the portable DXer. Or the desktop, right? The non-SDR DXer. It's DX Central Live every Friday night at 23:45 UTC. That's 18:45 Central Daylight Time. We bring you live DX and DX-related conversation. I mentioned RDS Spy. Let's go ahead and take a look at that sucker, because it's actually really, really cool. So this is RDS Spy right here. It's this little bitty window right here. Tiny little guy. And all it does is decode RDS. That's all it does. It's really, really good. Now, there are, like I said earlier, there are times where I will see something in RDS Spy before I see it in console, sometimes vice versa. Or there are some times where RDS Spy gets a decode that console never gets. I haven't seen very many instances of the other way around on that, by the way. If console gets it, usually Spy's going to get it too. But I have seen times where console doesn't, Spy does. And SDR Sharp, where RDS Spy gets it, Sharp doesn't. Interesting. So there are multiple pieces of software you can use this with. What you basically need, though, is a way to route another little feed of the audio coming from your SDR. You don't want to just feed your main audio that's in your program to it, because then you won't be able to listen to it. So you want to feed a secondary path of audio from your SDR program or SDR, whatever, into RDS Spy. So we do that by the use of virtual audio cables. Now, I have a video here on the YouTube channel that talks about all of this setup for virtual audio cables and how you need to do it and what it's looking for, the specific formatting you need to do, because there is very, very specific formatting that RDS is going to be looking for, or RDS Spy is going to be looking for here. So you have to set it up for like the right sample rate and things like that. We're not going to go into all that detail tonight. I definitely encourage you to watch that video here on the YouTube channel. It's specific to SDR Sharp, but as you're going to see here in a moment, a lot of the settings are the same in console. So it's very, very, very similar. So this is where I usually kind of dock it over here, kind of out of the way, but still prominently displayed. So if I go, for instance, to, let's go to 101.9 again, our local here, you'll see, boom. Now that one, console got it first, right? But sometimes it's the weaker signal stuff where RDS Spy really kind of comes through. Here's one. This is 72F2. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to reset. Is there any signal here on 1015? I thought it was trying to download. You'll see it sometimes. They'll be sitting here counting and getting a percentage, and that's when it's trying to decode. Let's see. Yep, there's 101.1. It got that one. And then I hit reset to clear it. Just taking a look and see what it can grab here. There's KLRLZ, our local to streets. So you'll see it's got all the same info that you have down here, but it's just another conduit for RDS decodes. Is it overkill? Maybe. But like I said, I got quite a few decodes. I don't know if I would say a lot, but I got quite a few decodes during sporadic E openings over the last couple of years that only showed up here in RDS Spy. They never showed up in console. So it's kind of, I look at it like it's free. It's free. It's easy to set up. It covers your bases. Why wouldn't you do it? There's no reason not to, right? There's zero reason to not do it. So once you've got all of your virtual audio cables, and again, our video that we have here on the YouTube channel gives you links to go to download the high def virtual audio cables and get those set up on your computer. Once you've done all that, and you got all that situated, there's a little bit of setup work you have to do here in RDS Spy itself, which is going to be the same no matter what SDR program you're using. The key difference here is, if you are using console, is where you go in here for this part. So I'm here on the receive tab. I'm going to go to the little downward arrow here and go to options. And that's where you'll see here, MPX forward. Generally speaking, if you're getting stuck, if you're trying to get your SDR program to work with RDS Spy, generally speaking, what you're looking for is something called MPX output, MPX forward, something to do with MPX. That is typically the area of the SDR program that's going to allow you to have a separate audio send in addition to what you're listening to, a separate audio send that's going to go out to another device like RDS Spy. And then once you've got that in here, see, broadcast FM multiplex forwarding, that's what MPX stands for, multiplex forwarding. Parentheses, RDS Spy. Full instructions are available online, so you can click on that and you can get instructions here, right? That Simon Brown, who has put together our SDR console, has made available. You'll also see here, this is where you select your input. In this case, it's the virtual audio cable, the VB audio hi-fi cable that I have set up. And then you set your level, and then you enable it, and that's it. You'll see a couple notes here. The default format is 192 kilohertz, one channel, 32-bit samples. So that's what you're going to want to make sure you have set up on your virtual audio cables in Windows. Mine is exactly that. It's 192,000 hertz, one channel, 32-bit. That's it. So once you've set that to your audio cable, You set your level, which I keep it kind of on the low end. You don't want to overdrive it. Hit enable. Boom. You're all set. And now you've got RDS Spy decoding the same stuff. And actually, you want to know the truth, you get more information here in RDS Spy than you get anywhere else, I think. You see all the information that it decodes, everything. All of it's in here. So there's the PS. You got your PTY. All the different codes that come with that RDS. You'll be able to review all of that. Not just the PI code itself. All the PS, PTY, all the different codes that are going with that RDS signal. This is also where I remind folks that it is super handy to have the BFM spectrum in your SDR console instance, so you can even see if you're getting any RDS signal at all. And when you do that, if you go in here, go to Broadcast FM on your Receive tab, Broadcast FM, the little pull down menu, click on Spectrum, and that will bring up your BF Spectrum. And I just docked mine up here. You'll see here, it gives you the layout of the FM signal that's being received at the time in your wide FM, your Broadcast FM, in this case, BCFM. And you'll see right here is where it talks about there being an RDS signal. This is where you'll be looking for RDS, right in this 57 kilohertz area, okay? And you'll see there's a little bitty bump right there and a little bitty bump right there. That's what it's decoding off of. The stronger, and this is another thing that I want to make sure that folks know, not every RDS signal is created equal. Some folks will insert, or they call it injection, they'll inject their RDS signal stronger. So you see a station that has a very strong injection, you'll have a very weak signal coming in, like a little sporadic E signal coming in, and almost instantly RDS decodes. You're like, wow. But you'll have other stations that has a huge full quieting signal, and you know they've got a PI code. You see it on FM list or WTFDA or whatever. You know they've got a PI code, but it still hasn't registered, hasn't decoded it yet. Well, because that injection level, the level they set to send that RDS out, is probably a little low. And so that's where the BF spectrum can be super handy. This one is right above the overall level. So it's just enough for those RDS decoders here to grab a hold of. If I go to another signal, like let's say here, 99.5, look how big that injection level is on that signal. That is crazy high. So you'll see there's the two RDS signals right there, crazy high compared to the overall signal level. So that one is one where they have the injection level set super mega crazy high. Another one here is that 102.5, or actually 101.5 probably is a better one.
/choice55 to learn more.
So this is WYNK in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. You hear the audio.
Qualified customers plus taxes, fees, and $35 per line.
So it's not full quieting. It's not like crazy strong, but it's enough. I should be able to decode their RDS with that level of signal. Okay. And I know they have RDS, but if you look at the BF spectrum, it's not making it. It's not making it over the overall noise and or signal floor here. So it's not punching through. That's why I'm not decoding. I can go to another frequency. Here's 101.9. We were looking at earlier. There's the RDS decode, and you can see the signal, right? So that BF spectrum can be a super big help in understanding what's going on, and if you're not getting a PI code decode, maybe why. Or if you see a situation like this where it's like maybe I have a weak signal, but boom, look at all the RDS, they set their injection super high. That's why you're getting the decode. Jerry says, I found that you need to use the hi-fi cable rather than the regular one. Yes. Yes, hi-fi ASIO cables, the high-def version. If I go to VB, there's a couple of different virtual audio cables out there, but what I use is called VB audio. So this is the what we're talking about here. So you have a basic version, the VB cable right here, and then you have your hi-fi cable over here. Okay? This is the one you want. You want the VB hi-fi cable here. Perfect sound for audio files. That works. When I tried the other version, it was sporadically working. As soon as I went to the hi-fi version, it worked instantly. So when you do this, and I'll actually give you guys the link here if you're wanting to set this up. Here's the link. That takes you right to this page here for this hi-fi VB audio, virtual audio cable. And our video that we did on it here. Spy. Here is our video that we have. Again, this was specific to SDR Sharp. But other than the SDR Sharp part, everything that's in that video will help you get this going. And now if you're using console, you know where to go. You know, you would have to go here to the broadcast FM button here and receive, click on the down arrow, and then go to options, and then go to MPX forward, set your virtual audio cable, hit enable, make sure your level's a little bit low so you don't overdrive it, and then hit enable, and then you're good to go. That's the only part that's specific for console. Everything else in that video is all the pre-work you have to do to set up RDS Spy and the virtual audio cable. That doesn't matter what program you're using, that's going to be the same. Okay? The only part that's going to be different here is this part here. Your virtual audio cable piece in either console or Sharp. In this case, it's the MPX forward. That's it. Blazer Bobcat says, what other equipment do you need besides the SDR console? So you need your SDR and an antenna, right? So you need your SDR plugged in, and then console here is just running the software so you can operate your SDR, and then an antenna to receive your signals, and that's it. You would want to get a copy of RDS Spy, which I will put a link, and there's also a link for this in our video description on that SDR Sharp video. There we go. There's RDS Spy. Most recent version was from 2022. And I keep mine pinned on my taskbar down at the bottom of my my screen in Windows so I can get to it really quick. If there's an opening that just springs open and I want to get to it really quick and pop this up, you can do that. You can also configure this to stay on top. So no matter what, like if I pull this up now, it's still there. It's going to stay on top, docked. So no matter what, I have access to RDS Spy. So I can minimize my SDR program, put it on an open frequency, and sit there and watch for it to decode stuff. It's amazing. And there's some more advanced features. It has some logging and some scanning capability. I think scanning, but definitely some logging capabilities and stuff like that. I haven't really dove into that. I just use it for decoding whatever is coming through either my live DX or my recorded files, because it will do it for recorded files too. That's it. That's RDS Spy. We updated our PI codes. We talked about our cleanup project and doing your antenna maintenance. The last thing I want to talk about here is, before we get to our live DX session here for this last hour, is I want to talk about auto logging. So you see here we have our RDS auto logger maps. This was our TEF radio using our 21-foot dipole. This is the one using our omnidirectional at 62 feet, the Winegard HD 6010. We have a video here as well on our YouTube channel on using the TEF radio. This is the easiest way, lowest barrier to entry to get into auto logging. You can do it with an SDR if you don't want to spend any money. You already have an SDR laying around you're not using. You want to devote like an Air Spy or something like that to it, that's perfectly fine. But if you want to have a dedicated auto logger, I highly recommend it. You're going to want to make sure that it's in a room that is able to see your router. Like they should be in the same room together if you can. Because the Wi-Fi antenna in these TEF radios are not great. So it needs to have a super strong signal. I have a Wi-Fi extender right here. My radio is right there. My autologger is behind me over here to the right. My router extender is right here to my left. I can almost touch both of them at the same time. Okay? And it works great. Much more if it can't see it. Like before I put that extender in, the router's in another room over here, the living room. They couldn't see each other. Didn't work all the time. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it would drop. But we have the video here on our YouTube channel for using the TEF 6686 radio for auto logging. Works through all the steps and tells you exactly what you need to do to get started. So I highly recommend, and I ask everyone who does FMDX, even if you don't do FMDX, if you just want to contribute to the community, but if you are an FMDXer especially, it'll highly benefit you. I've gotten so many logs over the last several years that I would have never gotten had I not auto logged. I would have never even known they were there. I've had last year e-skip openings all the time because they were so short-lived. I never got a chance to jump in on them. By the time I'd see that it was there, it was already gone. But thank goodness my autologger was running because it actually grabbed the stuff and gave me a bunch of logs that I never would have gotten. In fact, I have a total, because I keep track of this stuff, 217 stations. 217 stations are in my logbook because of the autolog. Rabbitears.info. They have all the information if you want to get started using a regular SDR. You can go here, do rabbitears.info. This is the all tuners map. It looks at everybody's tuners. Oops, that's zoom that out a little bit. There we go. This is everybody that's active right now. You can see, you can spot openings super easy this way. If you want to confirm if there's an e-skip opening, you can look here and see, and you'll see very quickly if there's something going on. Now, if you see, just because you see a path cross like right here, this happened at 8:23 p.m. This was at 12:51 p.m. So just because you see a path cross doesn't mean it was e-skip. Like those happened at very different times. That was probably meteor scatter, right? But this can at least give you an early warning on e-skip as well. So rabbitears.info is a website. If you want to do the regular SDR stuff, watch our video if you want to do the TEF radio, and get those orders in now before the tariffs jack the price up. I got mine yesterday or 2 days ago, $71. Out the door, shipped, $71, which is about what I had been paying for the others as well. All right, let's do some live DX, our last session of the night. This DX session is brought to you by the folks at Spectrum Monitor, thespectrummonitor.com. Go there for your subscription, $24 a year, $2 an issue that way, or individual issues at $3 an issue. We're sitting here on our shortwave central Kiwi right now, looking on 1500. Let us know some frequencies you want us to check out. Let's go back and double check 670 now, that some time has elapsed, and see what we got coming up here on 670. Probably still too early for Boise, but that's probably WSCR Chicago there, mixing with Cuba. Remember, we are looking north, so if there's something up to my north that you want us to search for, let us know in the chat the frequency you want me to sit on, and we shall do that. Carl says he has a DX Central Live file on my YouTube that I save DXC live shows to. My man. Yeah, that's the thing. If you need to go back and reference our live stream, you were like, wait, what did he say? You can always watch the replay. It's always there for you. 5 seasons of this stuff. And especially the last 3. We have covered some stuff. This season's been jam-packed. And I know some of you guys probably missed what I was saying earlier in the show about some maintenance stuff when my microphone was all distorted and nasty. So I'll do a really fast recap here after the top of the hour of what I was talking about, so that you can use that for your prep. And I'll probably redo some of that next week too. You got a frequency you want us to park on? This is the time to get it in. Let's pick one at random here, Lloyd. 1270. That's going to be Texas. AFLC. 1280. That's my local here, but you can see on the North Wire, they're attenuated enough. We have Mexico coming in. 1290. It's that time.
DX Central Live, top of the hour alert.
Top of the hour means we're listening for IDs here on the AM band right now. We're on 1290, but if you have a frequency you want us to go check out, drop in the chat. We'll tune that around. Let's see what we have here on 1290, though. We're looking north 330 degrees on our elevated 25 by 72 foot CAS antenna. Jacob says 1170. Let's go take a look and see if Oklahoma's coming in.
Waiting on deck. Arizona. The Wildcats.
Probably KOTV here on top. But you do hear some Spanish music underneath. That's probably XERT in Reynosa. La Mas Pecuda.
The Cowboys will have runners at second and third. They're going to hold it there.
They are commonly heard here, even on the North Wire.
Time of evening, the lights haven't quite taken effect. You can see Gunnar Gall just threw his hands up.
The KFL, huh?
His right, just kept looking. Finally, that ball hit not too far away from the
Boss Hog Radio, huh?
second baseman all the way.
Blazer Bob wants 1010. Let's go check that out as well.
Was trying to help him. That ball hits and no man.
Probably going to be 1010 JXL.
This is Mississippi State baseball from Learfield. At Atmos Energy, we believe affordable, reliable, and efficient natural gas is essential to
okay.
Carbon energy future. We're committed to helping protect the environment.
The MOX is going to be who that is.
Customers reduce energy use and lower their carbon footprint. Get a rebate up to $600 off qualifying high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy, your natural gas company.
Bulldog fans, this is head coach Jeff Wright. For over 30 years, Columbus Orthopedics has been the trusted team physician, ensuring our athletes perform at the top of their game. Whether you're an athlete striving for victory or someone seeking relief from pain, if you want to recover like a Bulldog, visit Columbus Orthopedics. Experience the difference trusted expertise makes, and trust one place, Columbus Ortho. Visit ColumbusOrtho.com and discover why they're the leading orthopedic clinic in Mississippi.
Bottom of the seventh inning, State leading Alabama 12-3. Garrett Fry thrown out at home 4-2. Kyle Cheeseborough was trying to get that 10th run across, going aggressive there on a ball that dropped in short right field, but Fowler slipped, and Norton going out from second couldn't get to it. Norton picked it up, threw Fry out at the plate after Stallman scored, so it is a 9-run game.
Hey, Stuart, yeah, let me, I'll touch on that here in a minute.
And for Alabama, it's Cade Snell to face Stone Simmons, who's on for his third inning in relief, and he delivers a ball inside. Ball one, the left-handed hitting left field.
Yeah, G's our third base coach was trying to get that 13th run.
1-0, hard hit it.
Yeah, that's a BMOX, Meridian. Is my guess.
And there's one gone.
I've coached third base many times, USA, Georgia Southern, Mississippi State. I know what he felt like 2 outs.
Yeah, in that instance with 2 outs, you got a chance to try and put the pressure on Alabama, get them down their last 3 outs. Yeah, absolutely, it's worth the risk.
Most second basemen don't throw long distance very well, so you got good arms and not great arms, just took a chance.
So now Torres, who's 0 for 3 tonight. Base is clear for Alabama with 1.
There's somebody else underneath I'm really hoping to be able to get because I need more on 1010.
For a hit. Fry races over to cut it off, and he'll hold Torres with a 1-out second.
Yeah, it's Mississippi State Bulldogs baseball. So unless WORM in Savannah, Tennessee is carrying Mississippi State baseball, which is possible. this is probably BCKW coming up top. More than likely, it's to be CKW. Could be KBBW in Texas, but I'm pretty sure that's to be CKW.
In chapter 4, we talked about four benefits of being in a right relationship with God. Now,
Maybe not.
remember, there's no
That doesn't sound very Catholic broadcasting to me. That could be KBBW.
It gives us union with a powerful.
Yeah, that's not a Catholic network station right there. Union.
Always wins. State 0 for 2 with a walk. He takes the ball outside, ball 1. But the call on the fields, the call after review is the right call. I mean, he was safe, and it was not really close.
There's just no arguments anymore. There's no arguments ever.
Infield plays back for State everywhere except first. Hines holding the runner there. The 1-0 breaking ball in for a strike for Stone.
HIN, yeah, I've heard them here. One of the few stations other than JXL that I've heard here on 1010.
A breaking ball missed.
I think I'm hearing JXL coming up now. Kind of loud in the right ear. Louder.
You walked with purpose, is what you're telling me. 2 balls and 1 strike. Odu away from first. Here's the pitch.
And then there's the religious station again. Okay. So yeah, I'm pretty sure, I'm 99% sure that's probably WMOX in Meridian. There was an outside shot that it could be the Tennessee station running Mississippi State, but kind of doubt it. They typically don't do a lot of that, but you never know. Okay. Really quick, I'm going to touch on it again next week during our show, but I at least wanted to give you guys a quick recap of some of the stuff that I talked about earlier when my microphone was all messing up. Some things you can do right now to upgrade or enhance your FMDX before the season starts. Number 1, check your feed lines. Make sure that everything has good connections. Make sure that your connectors are nice and sealed. All the outdoor ones, at least, are nice and sealed up. Using something like the coax seal or something like that, or that self-amalgamating tape, that works really, really well as well. Check for your feed lines for any nicks, any cuts, anything like that that might bring in noise and stuff like that. If you have any like exposed braid, things along those lines. Double check to make sure that if you're running 75 ohm at any point in there, you're running 75 ohm all the way through. I've done it myself where I had a little 50 ohm jumper here in my shack, and that was an impedance mismatch somewhere along my signal path. And it's not an enormous difference in signal levels, but it made a difference. But that kind of stuff can add up pretty quickly. So check to make sure you're using the same ohm rating on your feed lines all the way through your signal chain from antenna to receiver. Make sure your connections are all good. Make sure your feed lines look good. There's nothing that needs to be replaced. If you do need to replace, or maybe you want to replace your feed lines, you can do a significant upgrade if you use a low loss feed line, like going from RG6 to RG6 quad shield, or we use here at the shack RG11. It's super stiff and kind of difficult to work with sometimes, but man, it's super low loss, especially at long runs. You're going to get low loss on those VHF frequencies, and it's going to help keep everything, the signal levels up. You can make up for feed line loss by using something like this. This is the KITS KT501 low noise amplifier, and the key here is low noise. Don't cheap out. I used to use cheap RCA amplifiers, even the Channel Master amplifiers. I don't trust them. Low noise amplifier, that's the key. This is a specific application to basically overcome your feed line losses or any other losses. Like if you use a splitter like this Channel Master splitter, this is a really, really good splitter, but they have 3 dB of loss at both of these. So every radio I have connected here, these 2 radios are going to have 3 dB of loss from the inherent signal coming in from the antenna. I make up for that with my LNA. I just dial in just enough gain to be able to overcome that loss. I don't want to overdo it. I don't want to overdrive, and I especially don't want to make things too wide that can make adjacent channel splatter really difficult to handle. So you can double check your feed lines, check your components. If you do have splitters in there, make sure they're good quality splitters to give you the best signal transfer from antenna to your 2 radios here. I typically don't try to split an antenna more than twice like this. This is as much as I would probably do. But you do you, because the more you split it, the more loss you're incurring. The more you're going to have to make up for with that LNA. So I just do a 2 split at most per antenna. Every antenna I have is doing double duty with a splitter, but I'm not going to go more than 2. Another thing you can also check is your balun. Make sure if you have one of the antennas that has a screw terminal on, like a 300 or 500 ohm connection, that you have a balun that's going to then transfer that from that 300 ohm down to the 75 ohm for your feed line. Don't cheap out on this one either. The Channel Master baluns on Amazon are really, really, really good. I've got several in use right now. I cheaped out one year, came back the next year, did some, looking at my setup to make sure everything was good, and the old cheap balun literally crumbled in my hands. It fell apart in my hands. Don't skip out. Get a good quality. Channel Master baluns are fantastic. Channel Master splitters are fantastic. The amplifier, though, you'll want to upgrade to like a Kits KT501. These are fantastic amplifiers. There's 2 main components. You've got a power plug wall wart here, but there are 2 main components. You've got your outdoor box, this guy right here. You've got 2 connections. You've got your antenna feed line that comes from your shack to your antenna, and then this side is your actual antenna. This goes from this box to your antenna. You've got a pipe hose clamp. I just put it like this. I put my up against like the antenna mast, or like I have sometimes on a tree limb. You tighten that hose clamp down. It puts it like this. This keeps water out because now all my components are underneath. Keeps the water out, makes sure everything is nice and protected, and you just put your connections inside. You also have an indoor box component that comes into this as well. This this side here, the amp side, is what goes out to your outdoor feed line, what says TV, because this can also be used for TVDX. That goes to your radio, your SDR. There's a power hole on the back right here that you plug your power supply into, and that's it. These low noise amplifiers, they do 2 things. One, they help you overcome feed line loss, but they also level set your noise floor. That's super, super important. So highly recommend, especially if you're going to be doing like tropo or meteor scatter, you're going to be chasing that kind of stuff. You're going to want to have a level set noise floor, and these LNAs can do that. They amplify your signal, they overcome the feed line loss, but they don't introduce any noise, extra noise, or very, very low noise into your signal path. That's important. Those cheap amplifiers, noisy, and they amplify the noise and they introduce more noise. Not great. Those are the main things I was saying earlier. Check all of your connections, check your feed lines, do your routine maintenance. I went through last night and put anti-seize on anywhere where I had metal to metal contact on my new log periodic antenna. I'll probably do the same thing on my other antennas as well, just making sure everything stays nice. And good connections. The reason I did that on the log periodic, I don't want there to be any corrosion that would cause me to not have a good transfer of signal from the elements to the boom to the feed line and so forth. I want everything to be as conductive as possible to maximize as much signal back to my SDR as I possibly can. There you go. So we'll talk more about that in coming weeks as well, but that's a recap of what I mentioned earlier. All right, that's going to do it for us for tonight's edition of DX Central Live. Oh, Stuart, real quick, I didn't want to forget about you here. If you have sporadic e-logs that you have in your possession that you received from 2017 to current day, right? So basically this year, you can send those. If you've already submitted them to FM List, you're good. You don't have to. If they're at FM List, I've already got it. We're good. But if you don't submit to FM List, or you haven't submitted yet to FM List, you can send those logs over to me. Just shoot me an email, w4lvhsc@gmail.com. That's my email address. You can also just use info@dxcentralonline.com. That's also going to get to me either way. Send me an email and I'll tell you what I would need. There's a template that you can use to put everything in the right format, so everything is easy for me to just write into my data set. But yeah, you can also submit your logs and have that be included in the overall data set. So get those over to me, w4lvhsc@gmail.com or info@dxcentralonline.com, whichever one suits your fancy. I'm working on a form that you can fill out, a website, and all that kind of stuff. But we'll get there eventually. But the easiest way right now is the email. All right. For our sponsors, the Spectrum Monitor, thespectrummonitor.com, the IRCA, International Radio Club of America, ircaonline.org, and the National Radio Club, nationalradioclub.org. We want to thank you guys for tuning in. We've only got 3 more after tonight. That's it. 3 more episodes, and this season will be wrapped up. Next week, we introduce our last challenge of the season. And then as we get closer in on our final episode, May 2nd, we're going to introduce what we're going to be doing this summer for our challenge. So you want to make sure you stick around for that. We'll see you guys next week right here on DX Central Live, my friends. Take care, 73, and best of DX.
Friday night rolls in the air, tuning in without a care. Lloyd Van Horn takes the stage. DX Central Live engage. AM FM static fight, chasing signals all through night. Waves that travel far and wide. Feel the magic deep inside. DX Central Live tonight. Turning dials, feeling right. Lloyd will guide us through the waves. All the signals we will crave. Frequencies that cross the sea. Mysteries for you and me. Lloyd's voice cuts through the noise. Feel the thrill, enjoy the joys. Ghostly whispers in the dark. Find a station, hit the mark. Fading in and fading out. Lloyd helps clear the doubts. Stories from the distant land, caught by waves that we command. From our homes we hear the call. DX Central Live for all. DX Central Live tonight. Turning dials, feeling right. Lloyd will guide us through the waves. All the signals we will crave. DX Central Live tonight. Turning dials, feeling right. Lloyd will guide us through the waves. All the signals we will crave. DX Central Live tonight. Turning dials, feeling right. Lloyd will guide us through the waves. All the signals we will crave. DX Central Live tonight. Turning dials, feeling right. Lloyd will guide us through the waves.
This is DX Central Live. This is DX Central Live. This is DX Central Live.